Now on Coast TV News.
Maryland's pro-wind push. What to expect later today when advocates attempt to make their case for the alternative energy project set for our coast.
Halloween on the highway, the changes to traffic in Lewes for trick-or-treating tonight.
Good Friday morning and a happy Halloween. Delmarva tracking ghosts, ghouls, and gusts. We could see some winds as high as 45 miles an hour. Your trick-or-treat forecast and weekend forecast next.
All the buzz in Philly.
And James Jones sprints and dives into the end zone.
The big night for Delaware State football in their nationally televised game against Norfolk State.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning. I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. It is Friday, October 31st, 2025.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
it's a very
Matt.
exciting night, we know, for trick-or-treaters out there.
Yes, and Matt, I want to know today what your favorite Halloween costume was.
And when I was younger, let's put it that way,
Okay.
my dad had the art teacher in our high school make this really cool Darth Vader costume, so
Such
that was a good
sweet
one.
memory. I love that. Now, what about our first alarm meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono? Chris, what was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
Oh, man, I was a firefighter. I was Dracula. I was a hockey player, yes, and hopefully you dress warm heading out trick-or-treating later on today because it's going to be quite blustery, but we're pretty pleasant to start this morning. We're at 52 in Cambridge, certainly a far cry from where we were yesterday dealing with the heavy rain. We're running about 12 degrees cooler in Ocean City, 11 degrees cooler there in Cambridge. 52 right now, Bethany Beach, 53 Laurel, 51 in Redden. Winds right now, 12 Seaford, gusting to 24 Indian River Inlet, and those winds are going to continue to pick up. We have a wind advisory, kicks into effect 10 a.m. and runs through midnight, encompasses all of Delaware. Clear and dry as our area of low pressure that impacted us yesterday continues to deepen and push into Canada, and in doing so, it's going to pull some stronger winds down to Delmarva. So we're going to stay blustery through our Halloween, but the good news is we're going to stay sunny and dry, and we're going to continue that sunshine into the first weekend of November. Looking very nice. Plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. We get up to around 60 degrees. Again, those winds are going to be pushing out of the west, gusting as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour. So dress warm when trick-or-treating this afternoon into the evening. I'll have more on the rest of your 7-day forecast here in a bit. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. Melissa's still churning, and after devastating Jamaica, Cuba, and Haiti, where it caused widespread damage and at least 30 deaths in Haiti, the government reporting more than 20 deaths, and in Cuba, where the hurricane made its second landfall, people are now digging out after flash flooding leveled homes.
And a flash flood warning was issued for almost all of New York City on Thursday evening. The storms that we experienced here later brought heavy rainfall to the city, flooding streets and submerging vehicles. People could be seen, you can see on your screen now, making that trek through the high waters in Brooklyn. Some drivers also deciding to brave the flood, which the city has strongly advised against. 2 people have also died as a result of the flooding.
And this just in, today in Maryland, state and federal officials, along with labor and environmental groups, they're in Baltimore. This is for a big push to expand offshore wind energy.
Matt, the event is scheduled for 11 a.m. and it's set to include Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen for what's being called a Maryland Day of Action for offshore wind. Organizers claim the offshore wind project will lower energy costs, create jobs, and improve Maryland's plans for clean energy.
Yeah, this comes amid the ongoing legal battle between U.S. Wind and some Delmarva communities, including Fenwick Island and Ocean City, to block this effort to build wind turbines off the Worcester County coast.
Well, it is October 31st, so we do need to talk about some Halloween festivities going around town.
Yeah, we certainly do. We find Coast TV News reporter Elisa Weber in Lewes, where a main highway there will have some traffic changes tonight for trick-or-treating. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace, and happy Halloween. Right now, I am in the neighborhoods right off of Kings Highway, where around 5 to 8 o'clock tonight, we are going to expect a ton of trick-or-treaters filling these streets, aiming to fill up their bags with candy. Right now behind me, we can see this house is all decked out and ready for Halloween, nice and early. It's nice to see all the decorations out and lit up this time of morning, but this area is actually going to be closed from 4:30 to 8 o'clock. The Lewes Police Department says that from 4:30 to 8 o'clock, there will be traffic restrictions in place from DeVries Circle to 3rd Street in order to make sure all of those trick-or-treaters are safe as they hunt for those full-size candy bars. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. Now, Halloween always a little dangerous for those little costume pedestrians, but AAA says this year it's even scarier. They're even giving it a pretty scary name. They're calling it a traffic safety trifecta of terror. The organization says the problems stem from Halloween being on a Friday night this year. Trick-or-treaters don't have to get up for school the next day, and partygoers don't have to get up for work the next day. And on Halloween, most kids are really only thinking about one thing, and that's getting candy.
Kids are out for the weekend, so they're going harder than they typically would on any other Halloween. So motorists really need to be extra alert.
And according to AAA, the daylight savings change can also make the big weekend potentially even more dangerous.
Yeah, here's some places across Delmarva where you can take those trick-or-treaters. In Milford, trick-or-treating takes place throughout the city from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Millsboro Police Department, they're hosting a trunk or treat from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's at the town hall. As we mentioned, Elisa had this in Lewes, trick-or-treating on Kings Highway, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And in Salisbury, the mall has trick-or-treating from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
In Ocean City, today is marking the last day of paid parking and the end of the first season with fewer kiosks across town. We spoke with the transportation manager in Ocean City on how the season went. He says the transition this year went pretty smoothly, citing only a handful of complaints. He adds that the town plans to remove the last kiosk at the inlet before next summer season, meaning next year paying through the phone will be the only option, which is something some visitors say they're just not a fan of.
More convenient, I would think, and maybe some people are going to come down and not realize that they took the meters away, and they're not going to know what to do to park.
According to the town, revenue from paid parking this year has increased by around 18% compared to last year. Town leaders credit the higher parking rates for the boost and say that the town currently has no plans to raise rates next year.
SNAP benefits are set to run out tomorrow due to the federal government shutdown. All 3 Delmarva states have declared a state of emergency. SNAP helps low-income people and families, and with the shutdown, the Food Bank of Delaware says it expects an increase in demand soon. They're asking for donations. The organization says some of its most needed items include canned meats, hearty canned soups, rice, oatmeal and cereal, canned fruits and vegetables, formula diapers, and shelf-stable milk.
And there are food banks across Delmarva who are ready to help people in need. Now, some of these include the Milton Community Food Pantry, New Covenant Church in Lewes, Stevenson United Methodist Church in Berlin, as well as the Salvation Army Food Pantry in Salisbury.
And we are now taking a live look Washington, D.C. It is day 31 of the government shutdown. Neither Chamber of Commerce that normally has our Congress and normally is in that building, they're in session today. Neither one is, and that means the shutdown will last into next week. It's federal funds for programs that feed low-income families. They're on track to run out tomorrow.
Right, and NBC's Alice Barr shows us what's in store after reaching this major milestone.
President Trump overnight throwing a major curveball into the shutdown showdown, calling on Republicans to go for the nuclear option, to get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now. Doing that would let GOP members pass a short-term funding bill to reopen the government with a simple 50-vote majority instead of the 60 needed now. The Senate's top Republican has publicly opposed changing the filibuster, instead urging more Democrats to cross over and back the bill.
We have a few already. We need 5 Democrats with a backbone.
Democratic leadership holding firm on restoring health care provisions.
The American people understand that there's a Republican health care crisis.
That amid a deepening food insecurity crisis. The emergency response organization World Central Kitchen, now in D.C., helping feed federal workers who are missing paychecks.
I wish people in power understood that we are much closer to poverty than a lot of folks outside of D.C. Perhaps don't understand or don't know.
And now SNAP food assistance is set to expire on Saturday, ripping a lifeline away from low-income Americans. Democrats pushing for a standalone bill using contingency funds to extend those benefits.
No president has ever stopped these funds from flowing in a shutdown.
Republicans rejecting blame, accusing Democrats of a political bid.
To insulate themselves from the consequences of their own actions.
Now, as the consequences grow, one Republican senator proposing a constitutional amendment to stop lawmakers' pay while the shutdown drags on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
New this morning, Salisbury City leaders and Salisbury Neighborhood Housing Services teaming up to restore a row of century-old homes on Fitzwater Street. According to Mayor Taylor, Westport is a major renovation project aimed at transforming long vacant row houses into modern, energy-efficient homes for first-time buyers. Construction will include full renovations, energy upgrades, and affordable purchase options. The first homes are expected to be ready by late fall of 2026, and temporary fencing is up now along Fitzwater Street with part of the sidewalk closed during construction.
Delaware State football in prime time. Hornets put Norfolk State away with this 76-yard fourth quarter run by James Jones. 27-20 is the final. Delaware State moves to 6-3 on the season, 2-0 in MEAC play, and we'll have more on this game later on Coast TV News Today.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Now coming up, Halloween, cool things to do. We'll tell you where to find those fun things across Delmarva.
Also, flooding taking over Ocean City. We'll show you what people there had to say after the heavy rain this week.
Still ahead, departures change due to weather. What trips are not launching at the Cape May Lewes Ferry today? And First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono there. He's in the Weather Center. He's working on that Halloween forecast, and we check in with him next.
Well, it's Friday, it's Halloween, what a combo, and we're going to have some sunshine this afternoon, but the winds are going to be picking up pretty high here through the afternoon. We're taking a look in the Lewes, 51 degrees right now. We're calm, we're dry, not too bad temperature-wise. 51 Milton, 53 Milford, 52 in Delmar. You can see wind flow out of the west, anywhere between 18 Georgetown to 23 in Indian River Inlet. That's thanks to this area of low pressure that passed through yesterday, continuing to strengthen, and that tight pressure gradient with high pressure building in is going to cause those strong winds. Well, as we take a look at Halloweens of past, 81 was our warmest. We have that just back in 2019. Coldest low was 24 degrees, and our coldest high was 50, set back in 2002. We had picked up over 3 inches of rain back in 1956. We're not going to be dealing with any of those extremes as we head into this Halloween. We're going to have a temperature right around 61, but it's going to feel a lot blustery and colder this afternoon into the evening, all thanks to those winds gusting upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour. I'll have the rest of your 7-day forecast here in a few moments. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. Happening today, the Cape May Lewes Ferry says it's canceling certain departure due to expected weather conditions. Officials say there will be no boats leaving from Cape May at 9:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. There will also be no boats leaving from Lewes at 11:15 a.m. and 2:45 p.m.
Get ready for nighttime road closures in the Forgotten Mile area of Rehoboth Beach. Dellet says the area on your screen that we're showing you right now, this is Robinson's Drive and Anna B. Street between Coastal Highway and Fisher Street. That's closing for milling and paving. Dellet says the work will begin November 3rd. It ends November 4th from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. each day.
Disney channels were removed from YouTube's pay TV platform after the two media giants failed to reach a carriage agreement before Thursday's midnight deadline. Now the blackout leaves subscribers unable to watch content from Disney's networks. Now that includes ESPN, ABC, Disney Channel, FX, National Geographic, as well as Freeform. The two companies remain in talks, although neither has indicated when customers can expect programming to resume.
Apple says it's heading into what could be its strongest quarter ever. The company's latest earnings report shows fourth quarter revenue climbed to a record of more than $102 billion. It was reportedly fueled by steady demand for the new iPhone 17 lineup. Apple CEO Tim Cook said the company expects the December quarter to be its best ever, both for total revenue and iPhone sales.
And we have a nice sunny, dry, but windy Halloween on tap here on Delmarva. We're going to continue that sunshine throughout the first weekend of November. Temperatures in the 60s. We'll talk more about that in a full 7-day forecast just after the break.
Time is 6:19, and we are getting a live look at the early morning scene at the Roosevelt Inlet. First Alert meteorologist Chris Master-Bono is back with us. Trick-or-treating tonight, Chris, and I think some people may need to adjust their costumes with the wind that we're expecting.
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty blustery and pretty cold out there, especially when we get those winds gusting 35 to 45 later on this afternoon into the evening. Temperature-wise, not all that bad. We're in the 50s, 51 Rehoboth, 51 in Dagsboro, and we're at 52 in Georgetown. Beginning to see the winds kick up a bit. 18 gusts there in Georgetown, 23 Indian River Inlet, 22 in Ocean City. Clear, and that is good news. All the rain we had yesterday continues to push up into Canada. This area of low pressure continues to deepen, and that tight pressure gradient with high pressure building in is going to cause those stronger winds this afternoon. We're at 53 in Laurel as we wait that sunrise at 7:27. Wind advisory kicks into effect at 10 a.m. and runs through midnight. That encompasses all of Delaware for the threat of those winds as high as 45 miles an hour. Now, we do have a coastal flood advisory. This runs through 8 a.m. We had some minor coastal flooding yesterday. Moderate to major coastal flooding occurred yesterday, but that coastal flood warning has been downgraded to an advisory, so we expect some minor flooding there through high tide this afternoon. Gale warnings continue through the overnight. Winds will continue out of the west, gusting upwards of 40, 45 miles an hour. It'll be breezy into the start of the weekend, and then those winds will relax. Highs today, upper 50s to lower 60s under those mostly sunny skies. As I mentioned, dressed on the warm side because it's going to feel a little colder than these 50s that we're forecasting into the evening for those clear skies and those trick-or-treats out there. Temperatures falling into the lower 40s overnight, and we're going to see plenty of sunshine into the start of our weekend with temperatures right around 60. Could wake up to some patchy frost Sunday as those winds calm and those skies remain clear, and we're going to look very nice into Sunday as well with temperatures hovering right around the lower 60s. So a really nice start to the month of November. Now, we're watching a system developing to our south into the start of next week. That could graze us with some rain late Monday. It's not completely sold on that yet, but we'll continue to follow that through the weekend. Hurricane Melissa continuing to weaken and race to the northeast. Gust, look at that speed, 41 mile an hour speed as it continues to push into the North Atlantic, turning into a post-tropical cyclone through the day today. 65 Monday, watching that chance for a late shower. 62 sunshine Tuesday through Thursday with temperatures falling into the upper 50s. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. In Ocean City, downtown was hit by flooding as Thursday's storm rolled through, but crews were busy pushing sand that washed into the inlet parking lot back onto the beach. Meanwhile, for people braving the elements, it was just a sight to see as rough waves crashed into the coast.
It's great.
It's angry. We love it. We love it.
We just need to get some fries at Thrasher's and come and sit and watch.
I think we all could use some fries heading into the weekend. As Chris just mentioned, today is expected to be much quieter now that the heavy rain and wind are gone.
After the break on CoastTV News today, some cool things to do this weekend. Plus, there's Halloween fun and ways to prepare for the season of giving. Delaware's Governor Matt Meyer has signed the Compassionate Release Act into law. According to state leaders, it expands compassionate release eligibility, allowing prisoners to apply directly to the courts for release under certain circumstances. That would be in cases of serious medical illness, for those 60 or older with 15 years served, or those who served 25 years and show rehabilitation. Supporters say it brings more transparency and fairness to Delaware's sentencing process.
It gives us real hope. It gives families, loved ones, and supporters hope that their loved one will come home and that we are not the sum total of the bad choices that we've made.
The Compassionate Release Act takes effect 180 days after being signed into law in Delaware.
Good Friday morning. Delmarvans are taking a live look into Lewes. Dry, pleasant conditions to start this morning. We're at 52 degrees, but it's going to be a rather blustery Halloween on the peninsula and along the coast. Plenty of sunshine. We're going to get temperatures up to near 60, but those winds are really going to begin picking up out of the west, gusting upwards of 45 miles an hour, 57 in both Rehoboth and Lewes by around your lunchtime with plenty of sunshine. Cambridge, very nice afternoon, but again, a lot of wind coming in off the bay with gusts to 40, 45. Chrisfield, we're looking at a temperature of around 60 degrees, so dress warm when trick-or-treating. We have Joseph Weimer, Lewes, Delaware. You're the winner of our Coast TV weather umbrella, and as always, you get your latest forecast by calling that First Alert weather phone. I'll have the latest on your trick-or-treat forecast and more on the weekend ahead coming up at the next half.
And happy Halloween, Delmarva. Clocks turn back Sunday morning, which means you get that extra hour of weekend to enjoy.
Coast TV's Christina DiRobertis has your plans covered with this week's cool things to do.
There are some spooky adventures to enjoy this weekend, plus you can get ahead on some holiday shopping. In Lewes, you can join a haunted history tour on Saturday and explore the eerie tales of the historic Burton Ingram House, discover what lingering spirits may remain there. You are encouraged to bring a flashlight. It is the perfect time of year to head to the Pumpkin Patch, and if you head to Grassroots Rescue's Pumpkin Patch Adoption Bash in Lewes, you can leave with a new furry friend on Saturday. The Rehoboth Art League's 41st annual Holiday Fair Fine Craft Show is happening all weekend. Jewelry, glasswork, ceramics, and more will all be on display. Why not get your holiday shopping done early this year? And you can also do that at the Tanger Outlets. Their holiday shopping kickoff is on Saturday. More than 60 of the area's finest artists, crafters, and local boutiques will be set up at the Seaside Outlets from 11 to 4. And you can head to CoastTV.com for a full breakdown of event tickets, details, and more.
Now on Coast TV News.
Halloween on the highway, the changes to traffic in Lewes for trick-or-treating tonight.
Backing the power of breeze. Alternative energy advocates make their case later today in supporting the controversial offshore wind project on our coast.
Good Friday morning and a happy Halloween. Delmarva tracking ghosts, ghouls, and gusts. We could see some winds as high as 45 miles an hour. Your trick-or-treat forecast and weekend forecast next.
Kiosks kicked out. It is the last day of paid parking in Ocean City, with kiosks set for removal. How the town plans to charge for parking next year.
This is Coast TV News Today.
October 31st, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly, and thank you for being up with us today.
Time is 6:31. It was a big sports night last night. You may have picked that up throughout our newscast. Tonight, we could have one of our very own, Mason Fluharty of Lewes, be part of a World Series winning team. Game 6 tonight, Blue Jays and Dodgers.
Yes, we all know how much I care about sports.
Okay.
Right. But someone
You
who
do
does
care
care
about
about
Halloween,
sports.
though.
I do care about Halloween, but we have our sports fanatic, you, and our First Alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, some of the biggest sports guys I know. Chris?
Oh, yes. Good morning, guys. Yes, certainly pulling for Mason. Hope they could capture the victory over those, the arch rival of those pesky Dodgers that we hate in Philly. Laurel coming in. We're waiting for that sunrise at 7:27 this morning, 52 degrees there. And look at the temperature change over the last 24 hours. We're running about 12 degrees cooler in Salisbury, 12 degrees cooler in Ocean City. We're at 51 in Rehoboth, 53 Milford, 53 in Seaford, and we're at 52 in Salisbury. Winds picking up a bit, 18-mile-an-hour gusts there. Georgetown, we're 24, Indian River Inlet to 22 in Ocean City. Only a taste of what's to come. Wind advisory kicks into effect at 10 a.m., runs through midnight with the threat of gusts to high as 45 miles an hour. We are clear, and we're going to see plenty of sunshine as the storm system that impacted us yesterday continues to deepen over Canada and spin some strong winds southward. Gusts upwards of 46 to near 50 miles an hour in some areas, I think further to the north, but a rather blustery Halloween on Delmarva. So you're going to want to dress rather warm as we go into the latter part of the afternoon. Into the evening hours, we're going to be falling into the 50s with clear skies and those gusty winds. I'll have more on your weekend ahead coming up a little bit later on.
Now, Melissa, still a factor this morning after devastating Jamaica, Cuba, and Haiti, where it caused widespread damage and at least 30 deaths. In Haiti, the government reporting more than 20 of those. And in Cuba, where the hurricane made its second landfall, people are now digging out after flash flooding leveled homes.
Today in Maryland, state and federal officials, along with labor and environmental groups, they're in Baltimore. This is for a big push to expand offshore wind energy.
The event at 11 a.m. is expected to include Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen for what's being called a Maryland Day of Action for offshore wind. Organizers claim the offshore wind project will lower energy costs, create jobs, and improve Maryland's plans for clean energy.
This comes amid this ongoing legal battle between U.S. Wind and some Delmarva communities that include Fenwick Island and Ocean City to block the effort to build the wind turbines off of the Worcester County coast. Well, it is Halloween, and later tonight, get ready for trick-or-treating all over Delmarva.
Right, Matt, and it's where we find CoastTV News reporter Elisa Weber in Lewes. Elisa, some major highways in Lewes will have some traffic changes tonight for trick-or-treating.
Good morning, Matt and Grace, and happy Halloween. As you can see, this house behind me is all ready for tonight with trick-or-treating. They've got some awesome decorations and lights up. And right now, I am in the neighborhoods right off of Kings Highway in Lewes. And from 5 to 8 o'clock, we are going to expect these streets to be filled with trick-or-treaters looking to get as much candy as they can. The Lewes Police Department is warning people, though, that DeVries Circle through 3rd Street will be closed to traffic for the safety of these trick-or-treaters as they hunt to hopefully get a full-size candy bar. Back to you.
Halloween's always a little dangerous for those costumed pedestrians, but AAA says this year it's even scarier, and they've even given it a pretty scary name. They're calling it a traffic safety trifecta of terror. The organization says the problems stem from Halloween being on a Friday night. Trick-or-treaters don't have to get up for school the next day, and party goers don't have to get up for work the next day. And according to AAA, the daylight savings change can make the big weekend potentially even more dangerous.
Yes, trick or treat, and here's some places across Delmarva where you can take those trick-or-treaters. In Milford, trick-or-treating takes place throughout the city from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Millsboro Police Department, they're hosting Trunk or Treat from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Town Hall. And as we mentioned with Elisa in Lewes, trick-or-treating on Kings Highway from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Salisbury, the mall, hosts trick-or-treating from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Sounds like a lot of fun, Matt. Over in Ocean City today is marking the last day of paid parking and the end of the first season with fewer kiosks across town. We spoke with the transportation manager in Ocean City on how the season went. He says the transition this year went smoothly, citing only a handful of complaints. He adds that the town plans to remove the last kiosks at the inlet before next summer season, meaning that next year paying through the phone will be the only option.
This just in, the British royal family has taken an extraordinary step in the controversy surrounding the allegations against Prince Andrew.
Yeah, and Reed Binion now showing us how the years-long scandal is part of a larger story about Jeffrey Epstein's victims and their demands for accountability and justice.
Britain's Prince Andrew, a prince no more, his brother King Charles officially starting the process of stripping Andrew of his remaining royal titles and evicting him from the royal estate in Windsor. It's the royal family's strongest response yet to the disgraced prince's links to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
It's a moment about justice, right?
Epstein survivor Danielle Binsky responding to the news Thursday.
I think it was incredibly hopeful for survivors, and it's a glimmer of hope that we haven't seen in a really long time, if ever.
The years-long controversy over Andrew's friendship with Epstein intensified after the release of a posthumous memoir by Virginia Giuffre, who alleged Andrew sexually assaulted her when she was a teenager. Andrew has repeatedly denied all allegations against him. He claimed he never met Giuffre, who died by suicide in April at the age of 41. On Thursday, her family released a statement reading in part, quote, "Today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage." Giuffre's brother also spoke out on Thursday.
I think this is a big sense of vindication for her from not just the general public, but from the king himself to say, I stand by survivors.
Buckingham Palace also released a statement reading in part, quote, "Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse." I'm Reed Binion reporting.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. this morning, day 31 of the government shutdown, and neither chamber of Congress is in session. That means the shutdown will last into next week as federal funds for programs that feed low-income families are on track to run out tomorrow. Now, this includes SNAP food assistance, taking an important resource away from low-income Americans. The emergency response organization World Central Kitchen, now in D.C., helping feed federal workers who are missing paychecks.
I wish people in power understood that we are much closer to poverty than a lot of folks outside of DC perhaps don't understand or don't know.
Now, as the consequences grow, comes a new proposal, a constitutional amendment to stop lawmakers' pay while a shutdown drags on.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, bean trade deal done. We'll tell you how a new deal with China could help Delawareans soybean farmers.
Also, former Philadelphia Eagles Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick meet once again on their old home field. How the Delaware State Hornets won this big hyped game against Norfolk State. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
We made it to Friday, Delmarva. It's a Halloween on top of that, and it's going to be a windy day, as you'll see here momentarily. Cambridge, it's rather calm out there this morning. Temperatures around 52, but that wind is going to be howling off the bay later on this afternoon. 51 in Rehoboth, and we're at 50 in Harrington. You can see gusts right now, 18 in Georgetown, 23 in Indian River Inlet, and 22 in Ocean City, as this area of low pressure that brought us all the heavy rain continues to deepen up into Canada. Well, we look at some of the Halloweens of past. We had a record high of 81 just back in 2019, and the record low for Halloween is 24 degrees, set back in 1966 and 1988. We have plenty of sunshine to talk about later on today, but some windy conditions. We could see some gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. Matt.
Okay, Chris. New this morning, the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration says construction begins tomorrow at the US 50 and Maryland Route 589 intersection in Worcester County. This work is part of a plan to build Coastal Square. That's a new shopping center and apartment complex on the south side of Route 50. Officials say crews will add a fourth leg to the intersection, turning it into a full four-way crossing. And this project also includes new stormwater upgrades and pavement markings.
Also new this morning, the third annual Veterans Day Career Carnival and Resource Fair will be held on Thursday, November 6th from noon to 5 p.m. at the Salisbury Fire Department Station 16. Organizers say the free event is open to the public and will feature more than 25 employers and organizations. Veterans and transitioning service members are encouraged to arrive early for a special recognition ceremony at 11:30 a.m. where they will also receive priority access to employers before general admission begins.
MEAC football in Philadelphia as two former NFL players made their way back to the city of brotherly love, where they played on this field as athletes, but now they turn their coach's cap on at Lincoln Financial Field. Deshaun Jackson leading Delaware State University. Michael Vick, the head man of Norfolk State. At the break, Delaware State was up 10-6. Now to the second half of action. Caden Bennett looking, scrambling, finds Tamir Ellis for the touchdown. But Norfolk State is going to answer back. Otto Coons to Kyrie Moiston, making the tough grab, their second connection of the contest, and number 6 goes in for 6. What a game we have here. It's 19-13 in the fourth quarter. But here comes Delaware State once again. James Jones getting his inner Deshaun Jackson speed, and he goes all the way in for the touchdown. The Hornets are buzzing in Philadelphia, and Delaware State University comes out victorious. DSU head coach Deshaun Jackson says it was surreal being back in his home stadium.
Be able to get this opportunity to play at a stadium like this, man, where, you know, me and Mike Vick called home for plenty of years, man, and, you know, just the things we accomplished on this field, man, it was surreal. So when I walked on the field, man, smelling that grass, man, it just went through my veins. I just felt like I was about to play a game because that grass smells very familiar.
As the Delaware State Hornets come out on top in Philadelphia, 27-20 over Norfolk State University. Reporting at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the Delmarva Sports Network, I'm Kayla Santiago.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 5, we have Down and Distance. That's followed by the high school football pregame show, Scoops and Scores. 6 p.m. live Bayside Conference football when North Carolina takes on Colonel Richardson. 9:30, you can watch 1CW Pro Wrestling. At 10:30, Grace, let's get back in the win column here.
Here's hoping, Matt.
Yes.
Here's hoping.
It's this edition of Nittany Game Week, and at 11, catch the final score. Along with that North Carolina Colonel Richardson game, here's more high school football you can watch exclusively on DSM. Plus, at 6, Seaford faces Early College High School, and at 7, Woodbridge hosts Lake Forest. Let's go to Miami. Lamar Jackson last night was back in the lineup for the Ravens, and all is right with Ravens World. The two-time MVP threw 4 touchdown passes on the night. This was a convincing 28-6 win over the Dolphins, and the Ravens up their record to 3-5.
It's week 9 in the NFL regular season, and coming up on Sunday Night Football this week, tune in as the Washington Commanders host the Seattle Seahawks. Then stay right here after the game for CoastTV News. And here is what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
Happy Halloween, Coast Life. If you join us today at 4, here's what's coming your way. I know it is Halloween, that's what we're talking, but we're also looking a little bit further ahead to the holiday season. Our friends at Shellville are looking for happy, ready volunteers for the holiday season. We're also going to be doing our winners of the week. It has been a while, and boy, do we have some Halloween awards to dole out to you. And I know that the conversation of insurance, it's not always a top of mind conversation, but it is one that's pretty important to have with your loved ones. We'll get into that as well. All of that is happening today at 4 on Coast Life. See you then.
Son and I waiting for some Milky Way darks out there. Searching for them. We're going to see plenty of sunshine throughout the afternoon, but a windy Halloween. Hang on to your hats. 45 to 50 mile an hour winds. We'll talk more about the rest of your forecast right after the break.
Chris, the Halloween forecast could not look better. I think it was blessed by the great pumpkin himself, like Charlie Brown.
Yes, right. A good thing we had the rain yesterday, but we are going to have some pretty strong winds to contend with later on today. We're at 51 in Rehoboth, 52 in Milford, and 51 in Dagsbury. You can see the wind flow out of the west, gusts 24 Indian River Inlet, 22 in Ocean City, and those winds are only going to begin to ramp up throughout the day today. And it's all thanks to that storm system that pushed through yesterday. It continues to strengthen and lift into Canada. We have high pressure building in, and you get that tight pressure gradient allowing for those stronger winds to dig southward into our area. 52 right now in Laurel, Sunrise 727. That wind advisory kicks into effect at 10 a.m., runs through midnight, and encompasses all of Delaware for that threat of gusts upwards of 45, 50 miles an hour. Now we have this coastal flood advisory up for another 2 hours here. We had some minor flooding yesterday, moderate to major flooding along the bay yesterday. Now that has been downgraded to an advisory, so keep that in mind as we go through high tide today. Gale warnings continue through early Saturday morning. There's those winds out of the west, upwards of 35 to near 50 at times through the afternoon and into the evening. We'll begin to see those winds relax into Saturday. Still a bit breezy to start the weekend with gusts to 25 miles an hour. Highs today right around 61 in Lewes, 61 in Cambridge, anywhere between about 60 to 63 across the peninsula this afternoon. As we go into the afternoon and the late afternoon and the evening, we fall through the 50s. 52 by around 8. Starry skies overnight. A chilly start to our Saturday as we dip into the lower 40s. Plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. And then somewhat of a frosty start into our Sunday as we fall into the mid to upper 30s ahead of a high of 64 into Sunday. So all in all, a beautiful weekend. Watching an area of low pressure that may develop to our south Monday. That could bring a brief round of showers into Monday evening. But overall, the trend is for a dry stretch of weather into next week. Melissa hanging on here. She's pushing up into the North Atlantic, really picking up speed northeast 41 miles an hour, and that will become a post-tropical cyclone later on today. We're at 65 in the Monday with that late shower chance, 62 sunny skies Tuesday through Thursday as we fall back into the upper 50s by next Thursday. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. And for months, Delaware soybean farmers have struggled with uncertainty and some high costs from the U.S.-China trade war, but that could soon change. This week, a soybean tariff agreement was announced. China is set to buy 12 million metric tons in the coming months and at least 25 million annually for the next 3 years. That's 25 million is just 3 million more metric tons than China bought last year, according to Reuters. Now, Delaware farmers and agricultural officials in Delaware say they're cautiously optimistic. The time is now 6:53, Matt, and we're checking in with our coastal pet of the day.
Okay, we have a cat this hour from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. We got Coraline. She's on your screen.
Do you remember watching the Coraline movie around Halloween? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It is a perfect Halloween movie. This is the perfect cat to have. Coraline on Halloween. It's a little spooky.
I've got no reason to doubt you on that. I'll take your word. Coraline, a little shy, but warms up quickly, and she enjoys taking lawn naps and playing with toy mice. If you want to adopt Coraline, Grace, maybe you or Billy, who we had last hour, just head on over to the Brandywine Valley SPCA.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. You can send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. If you take a look at your screen now.
Yeah, that's where that QR code is. Scan that, get your friends to Coast TV News, then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
Well, we have ourselves a sunny Halloween here on Delmarva. Temperatures getting up to around 60, but by the time we go trick-or-treating later on this afternoon through the evening, temperatures falling through the 50s. Watching out for those gusts as high as 30 to near 50 miles an hour. So dress warmly as you make your way out to grab that candy. Temperatures are going to be in the lower to mid 60s over the weekend and looking very nice. Don't forget to set those clocks back Saturday into Sunday, and some cold nights ahead as we dip back into the 30s, some frosty nights ahead as well, and we're looking pretty dry. Could see a late shower Monday, but overall we trend pretty dry into next week.
Not a fan of that cold weather, Chris.
Well, yeah, I know it's that time of year, but overall not too bad. I know some folks want the snow. Maybe we'll see an early snow.
I think
you're
just speaking on your own behalf with that one. Definitely not Matt. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Coast TV News today.
Today's show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for more Coast TV News at 11.
And for even more news and coverage, you can count on download our Coast TV News and weather apps, and have a great Halloween weekend, everybody.